reborn into this life. I refuse to be the crown prince's consort. The emperor demanded my reason. I pointed at the autistic prince. He slept with me, he must take responsibility. Xia Weichen stammered in protest. No. No. Unflinching. I spoke coyly. He said every day. 3 days prior. An assassin struck. I saved the emperor. In the Golden Hall. Rewards were bestowed for meritorious deeds. The emperor kindly asked me, "Would you be willing to become crown princess?" I shook my head firmly. "I refuse." As the words fell, Crown Prince Xiaoyan crushed his teacup. He rebuked me in a deep voice. "Jin Huan, stop throwing childish tantrums." The emperor glanced at Xiaoyan and asked me softly, "Why?" "I know you two grew up together. Hearts intertwined." I pointed to the autistic prince in the corner. "He slept with me. He must take responsibility." Xia Weichen snapped his head up, stammering in protest. "No. No." Unflinching. I repeated. "He says it every day." Thud. Xia Weichen fainted. I calmly explained. He was simply overjoyed. Xiaoyan gritted his teeth, grabbing my arm. "Father, please calm your anger. Enjoying ourselves to the fullest was merely a bet with Tonger. Your humble son apologizes on her behalf." The emperor pondered. Weichen hasn't spoken in over a decade. His eyes twinkled as he smiled at me. "After the wedding, you two must get along well. Respect each other like a couple holding a tray together. Harmonize like Qin and Se." Xiaoyan's face turned pale. "Father, your son." The emperor spoke coldly. "How?" After a long pause, Xiaoyan released me. The banquet continued. I slipped away unnoticed, found an empty patch of ground, and took off running. Wind whistled past my ears. Ah, the taste of freedom. In my past life, I chose Crown Prince Xiaoyan. He promised to love only me this lifetime. But later, he took many daughters of meritorious officials as consorts, claiming it was to maintain court balance. I asked sincerely, "Then why marry my sister Shinnanshin? To favor my father even more?" Xiaoyan lowered his gaze to look at me. I looked back at him, open and unashamed. After a long while, Xiaoyan swept his sleeves and left. He sent men to break my legs, imprisoned me in the cold palace. The cold palace was truly cold. So Shinnanshin set a fire, claiming it was to warm me. I crawled toward the door, refusing to die in this tiny space. Shinnanshin stood at the doorway, her wedding gown billowing, her crimson lips parted. "My brother, the crown prince, feared someone might harm you, so he had no choice but to push you forward to become his crown princess. Now that the political situation is stable, sister, you may rest in peace." Rotten wood consumed by flames. It fell, striking my waist. In the end, I never crawled through that door. I could only stretch my neck to peer outside. But beyond the red walls lay more red walls. Ah, no. There was also a figure in bright yellow. Xiaoyan stumbled. "Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself." I gave it my all. Wrenched my hand free. Flipped him the bird. That bastard ruined me. Heaven is unjust. A gust swept past. I was pinned against the stone wall. "Xin Jin Huan, what the hell do you think you're doing?" Xiaoyan wrapped his arms around me, growling hoarsely. His chest heaved. The corners of his eyes reddened. I couldn't hold back. I slapped him. "Prince, show some restraint. I am your brother's wife now." The blow was too hard. Xiaoyan's head jerked to the side. His tongue pressed against his jaw as he chuckled softly. "Do you think I care?" I took 2 steps back, my voice steady. "I think you wouldn't dare." Xia Weichen was the emperor's most cherished son. Alas, He fell ill at 7. He shut himself off, refusing to communicate with others. Had it not been for that, the crown prince's position would likely never have fallen to Xia Yin. The moonlight was cold and bleak. Xia Yin lifted his head. His eyes glazed over with a thin frost. Xin Jin Huan, are you going to favor him too? I nodded earnestly. Yes. I love him. I love him. I love him. Did you hear me clearly? Xia Yin froze for a moment. Then, with haughty disdain, he declared, Impossible. You're lying to me. He lowered his gaze, deep in thought. Was it because I saved Shinnanshin 3 days ago? She's your sister. She can't swim. That's why I saved her. I sneered coldly. I'd forgotten that part. That day, I was wounded by an arrow while saving the emperor. I fell into the imperial lake. Shinnanshin, startled by the assassin, also fell in. Xia Yin immediately jumped into the lake to save them. Drops of blood blurred into threads, weaving crimson shadows. Xia Yin abandoned me. He swam toward Shinnanshin. Both drenched. They emerged clinging to each other. Later, palace attendants rescued me. I ran a fever for a day and night, nearly dying. In my past life, Xia Yin kept vigil at my bedside, tending to me with care. He used the same words to coax me. How pathetic. I actually believed him. Too bad my rebirth came too late. Otherwise, in the imperial lake, I would have killed them both. Suppressing my disgust, I coldly said, Save whoever you want. What's it to me? My fiancé fainted. I must go see him. Move aside. Xia Yun's fake smile froze on his face. He closed in on me like a bloodthirsty beast. Enjoy yourself. Be obedient. Go tell the emperor to revoke his decree. We're betrothed. We'll marry. The terror of being controlled in my past life surged back. I backed away nervously. Until I hit the wall. I reached out to feel it. No room to retreat. Steeling myself, I demanded, What do you think you're doing? This is the imperial palace. Xia Yun's face darkened. His voice deepened, anger simmering beneath. You know this is the palace. What are you touching? I turned, dazed. Xia Weichen's cheeks flushed. His eyes conflicted. My gaze drifted downward. My hand was resting on. Xia Yin gritted his teeth. Let go. My resolve hardened. Shut up. My husband. What's wrong with me touching you? Saying this, I squeezed again. Xia Weichen let out a muffled groan. His hand blocked my chest. A mix of resistance and invitation. Xia Yin sneered coldly. Fine. You just wanted to use third brother to provoke me. Didn't you? Xin Qinghuan, you've succeeded. Let's see how long you can last. Don't come crying back to me. He stormed off in a rage. I rolled my eyes. Psycho. Me go find him? Not a chance. A layer of warmth covered my wrist. Xia Weichen's fingertips pinched my wrist, gently moving it away. His Adam's apple bobbed as he forced out a few words. It's improper. Then, the heat spread. Xia Weichen stepped back. He pressed his lips together, gesturing. I couldn't understand, but the attitude was clear. I guessed earnestly. You want to marry next month? Fine. I don't mind your issues. Huh? No dowry? That's fine too. Xia Weichen flushed crimson. His hands flashed in a blur. I simply closed my eyes. Ah. The banquet's nearly over. I'll take my leave. See you next time. Husband. Before leaving, I casually brushed against his abs. So hard. Almost thought it was a wall. After a while, a sigh came from behind me. like resignation, like joy. The next day, I was woken by Shinanshin's voice. She laughed maliciously. Sister, Consort Ro is summoning you to the palace. My eyes fluttered open. Hazy. I shifted my legs. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. As long as I can move, there's hope. I sprang up swiftly, changing into plain robes. Consort Ro was Xia Weichen's foster mother. She treated Xia Weichen exceptionally well. Yesterday, I slandered Xia Weichen. I feared retribution would follow. I slapped my cheeks, then pulled open the door. Shinanshin's eyes crinkled with amusement. Sister, I hear you chose the third prince last night? He's a fool. Without hesitation, I slapped her across the face. Shinanshin stumbled backward, clasping her face. She stared at me in disbelief. You hit me? I came to see you out of kindness. And this is how you repay me? I drew a deep breath, then kicked her several times. You're biting the prince's tongue? How many tongues do you have? A soft chuckle came from the doorway. The rosy-cheeked eunuch smiled brightly. Miss Shin, Consort Ro requests your presence. I entered the palace, having lived 2 lifetimes. Yet this was my first time meeting Consort Ro. She sat regally upon her high seat, her expression gentle and kind. Yesterday, this palace was indisposed and could not attend the banquet. Who would have thought that Chinner would soon have a wife? I fidgeted restlessly, about to speak. The palace doors swung open. Xia Weichen entered, panting, sweat beading on his forehead. The pink-faced eunuch followed, exclaiming, Third prince, please slow down. You've been running for half an hour, don't let the summer heat overwhelm you. Xia Weichen's gaze swept around the room. It landed on me, hovered for a few seconds, then shifted away. He clutched his robe hem, his voice hoarse. Mother consort. Let her go. Consort Ro bestowed many gifts, many vibrant brocades. Before leaving, she held my hand and urged, Mother consort can see he cares for you. He's reserved. Bear with him. Reserved. Indeed. In my past life, he silently killed Xia Yun, then roasted Shinanshin. Finally, he slit his own throat at my grave, never once saying he loved me. Just like now. Inside the carriage, Xia Weichen sat with his back rigidly straight. Not a word. I narrowed my eyes, studying him. In my past life, I didn't know much about him, only that he was reclusive. The physician said it was some form of autism. Incurable. So whether treated or not, it made no difference. But this time, I want him to be well. I leaned closer. Xia Weichen, are you hot? Your ears are red? Something inside me shattered. Xia Weichen coughed twice, shielding himself with his sleeves. If we don't marry, the engagement is off. I froze for a long time. I didn't know why. My eyes suddenly stung. I sniffed back tears, defiant despite my confusion. I won't back down. If you want to call it off, go ahead. I buried my head in bed for 3 days. My head felt like it was spinning. When I finally sobered up, drums and gongs were blaring outside. The maid Chui Lu scolded. She's just a concubine's daughter. Such a lavish birthday banquet even His Royal Highness the Crown Prince attended. She combed my hair gently. Young miss, shall we go burn incense outside the city walls? Father loved Shinanshin's mother deeply. Love extended to her child. He doted on Shinanshin too. So, in my past life, he chose to marry me off to Xia Yun first as a trial run. If Xia Yun succeeded, Shinanshin would marry him next. If Xia Yun failed, I smiled, adjusting my hairpin. Make me look good. Tonight's show will be entertaining. The crowd was dense. Shin Nanxin sat in the seat of honor, basking in flattery. Xiaoyan stood beside her, watching with a smile. Truly a match made in heaven. In my past life, I hadn't seen it at all. I stepped forward, offering my sincere congratulations, sister. May your birthday be filled with joy. Shin Nanxin's cheeks were swollen. She glanced at me, snorting coldly. How could I dare? How could I bear such a grand gift from you? Sister? Guilt-ridden. I spoke up. That day, I acted in haste. I was abrupt with you. Sister. I paused, my expression troubled. Instead, I shall give you this hairpin. The gilded hairpin dangled a pearl. It sparkled dazzlingly. It was a keepsake left to me by mother. Shin Nanxin had coveted it for a long time. In my past life, after I was banished to the cold palace, she seized it. Shin Nanxin's lips curved upward. Then perhaps, sister, you should drink this entire pot of wine. On the table sat a vessel of jade dew and nectar. Most intoxicating. My smile remained unchanged. Very well. As long as you're happy, little sister. I filled my cup to the brim and raised it in a distant toast. Just as it reached my lips, it was intercepted. Xiaoyan frowned. This wine is potent. I'll drink it for you. My eyes crinkled with laughter. Very well. Shin Nanxin blurted out. Your Highness, your stomach is delicate. How can you drink? Xiaoyan glanced at her, his tone cool. No need to trouble yourself. Then, he drained the entire flask. In my past life, it happened just like this. Shin Nanxin forced me to drink, hoping to see me humiliated. Xiaoyan took the cup for me. I was deeply moved, becoming utterly devoted to him. Later, Shin Nanxin told me, it was all just a play staged especially for me. How could I possibly disappoint? I shed tears at the right moment. Ah Yun, you treat me so well. Tomorrow, I'll seek the Emperor's permission to annul our betrothal. Xia Yun, flushed with wine, said, as long as you're not angry, I'll accept anything. Only, he murmured, this wine feels rather warm. Xiaoyan tugged at his collar. His cheeks were flushed crimson. I glanced at Shin Nanxin. She shook her head, her golden hairpin jingling softly. It went smoothly. I curved my lips, coaxing softly. Yun, you're drunk. Let me help you to the side room to rest. Okay? Xiaoyan took a long while to respond, finally nodding. He reached out his hand to me. I took it, supporting him as he rose from the seat. But as I turned, Xia Weichen appeared, carrying several boxes. He didn't pause, walking right past me. I couldn't explain why. My heart ached. Suppressing my emotions, I guided Xiaoyan to the east side room. He collapsed onto the bed, his body burning hot, his eyes hazy. He called out hoarsely, enjoy yourself. I tore off my hair ribbon and whispered, I'll be right back. The ribbon fell, falling over his eyes. I turned and left the room. Passing the rockery, Cui Lu called out to me. She lowered her voice. Miss, it's all taken care of. Shin Nanxin had also passed out drunk and was in the east wing. Fireworks exploded across the sky. The light was dazzling. The banquet hadn't ended yet. I gave a faint nod. Cui Lu hesitated before speaking. If the Chancellor discovers. The wind carried a hint of heat. I plucked a lotus leaf and fanned myself gently. They're mutually enamored, unable to resist their feelings. What does that have to do with me? I couldn't help but ask softly. Have you seen Xia Weichen? Cui Lu nodded. hesitating before asking, "Did the third prince also come to celebrate Shinnanshin's birthday?" No answer came. My chest felt like it was piled with burning stones. It burned so fiercely I could barely breathe. I tossed aside the lotus leaf and headed to the east wing. "When the time comes, send for me." Chui Lu nodded and turned to leave. I wandered aimlessly along the path. Perhaps I was reborn too soon. Xia Weichen hadn't fallen for me yet. Perhaps it was all just coincidence. Xia Weichen never loved me. My mind was in turmoil. Every breeze felt scorching. The heat made me sweat profusely, soaking through my inner robe, seeping into my outer skirt. I couldn't catch my breath and had to crouch down. I scooped pond water and splashed it on my face. The heat had barely subsided when someone grabbed my arm, pulling me into an icy embrace. Xia Weichen's face flushed crimson with urgency. His hands flailed wildly. He thought I intended to jump. My vision spun in dizzying waves. Instinctively, I wrapped my arms around his waist. A sudden sob caught in my throat. "Xia Weichen. I feel so awful." The wind ceased at my ear. Only the pounding of his heart remained, vivid and fierce. I couldn't resist. Drawing closer still, consciousness gradually blurred, as if flames ignited from deep within, burning hot. I pulled open his collar, freely exploring, drawing in the coolness. Xia Weichen's breathing grew heavier. He grabbed my hand, his voice hoarse. "No. Don't." He finally spoke again. His lips parted and closed. I bit his lower lip, nibbling gently. "Bitter. Tart." I murmured reproachfully. "Xia Weichen. You taste so bitter." Xia Weichen lowered his head. He watched me silently for a long moment. Then he reached out, gently wiping the tears from the corners of my eyes. His voice was dry, as if scraped by rough stones. Yet it carried tenderness, a soothing quality. "Don't cry. Don't cry. I'm here. I'm here." My reason finally shattered. I wrapped my arms around his neck. "Xia Weichen. I'm so hot. Help me." Xia Weichen's body was rigid. So rigid. His Adam's apple bobbed as he pushed me away with effort. Drunk, but meeting my slightly damp eyes. Xia Weichen froze. Summer cicadas chirped. Ripples spread across the water's surface. Xia Weichen sighed, his voice rough as he opened his mouth. "Only with my hands." Lotus leaves swayed gently. A dragonfly startled into flight. A startled cry came from the east wing. Hurried footsteps echoed. My dazed eyes slowly cleared. Xia Weichen supported me. Powder clung to his ears, his lips glistening. I adjusted my robes, filled with regret. "I'm sorry." I acted impulsively. Xia Weichen's eyes flushed crimson from my teasing. He looked utterly aggrieved. I whispered reassurance. "Rest assured. I'll petition His Majesty tomorrow to annul the betrothal. I hadn't considered you before, please forgive me." My legs grew weak, and I gritted my teeth as I rushed toward the east wing. The night wind swept past. It scattered the last remnants of my days. I recalled the beginning. Most likely, the potency of the intoxicating incense on the golden hairpin was too strong. That Shinnanshin and Xia Yun. My heart nearly leapt out of my throat. I pushed through the crowd. Chui Lu covered her face, helplessly explaining. The Dingwu Duke's daughter was drunk and wanted to rest. Who knew that when she opened the door? Shinnanshin cowered in the corner of the bed. The beauty wept. Xia Yun clutched his head, lips pale. He lifted his gaze, piercing eyes fixed on me. I smiled softly. Whispers rose. How dare a concubine's daughter climb into the crown prince's bed? The chancellor thinks too far ahead. Marry a prince. Marry a prince. Marry the crown prince. Marry the crown prince. Don't be ridiculous, Could the crown prince ever marry a concubine's daughter? My chancellor father finally arrived. Late as ever. The crowd dispersed. I was pushed out too. Light rain fell before the corridor. I listened quietly to the wind. The once noisy chancellor's residence fell silent. Chui Lu supported me, asking anxiously, "Miss, why are you crying?" I forced my lips into a smile. I succeeded. I made it. Xia Yun and Shin Nanxin were betrothed. Chui Lu read the stolen wedding list aloud. Huh? Why so many breastplates and embroidered robes? I sneered coldly. Of course. In my past life, I married Xia Yun. I endured at least 30 assassination attempts. Countless wounds, both minor and severe. I cracked sunflower seeds. When is the wedding date? Chui Lu set down the list. 3 days from now. The same day as your engagement to the third prince. Oh. I spat out a seed. Spinning in place. Why did the emperor suddenly set the date? What happened? I was just about to go to the palace to request an annulment. Chui Lu asked in confusion. Miss, the third prince's gift list has also arrived. Shall I read it to you? I bit my fingertip and shook my head. Lost in thought. A porcelain bottle was placed in my palm. Chui Lu explained. It was delivered by one of the third prince's servants. They said you have an injury that might swell. Where is the wound? Miss? Let me apply the medicine. My cheeks burned. I set down the bottle. I must go to the palace. I need to set the record straight. I was too presumptuous before. I thought Xia Weichen loved me. But the door swung open. Father, the chancellor, stood in the doorway. His expression stern. He waved a hand. Bind her. Kneel in the ancestral hall. The bricks in the ancestral hall were so hard. Shin Nanxin sobbed. Father. She must have orchestrated this. She shamed me. The chancellor father soothed gently. Don't be afraid. Shiner. After all, you are the crown prince's consort now. Shin Nanxin lifted her head haughtily. Shin Jin Huan. You will never surpass me. With that, they turned and left. Chui Lu knelt beside me. Her eyes reddened. Why? You are his daughter too. In my past life, when I was locked away in the cold palace, I asked this question too. Countless times. I sent countless letters to father through intermediaries. No answer came. So, I gave Chui Lu a gentle pinch on the nose. With a light-hearted sigh, I said, human hearts are inherently biased. He doesn't love me. That's all. Chui Lu began to cry even harder. I sat on the floor, sharing offerings with her. There. Cry after you've eaten. Chui Lu choked, taking them blankly. She bit into a steamed bun, swallowing before speaking. Miss, why did you suddenly take a liking to the third prince? I stared at the square room. No windows. No escape. I smacked my lips. Maybe. I just wanted things to be a little better. A little better. Even if it's despicable. Even if it's shameless. But I felt a twinge of regret. I shouldn't have dragged Xia Weichen into this. So I got up and pounded on the door with all my might. I pried up floor tiles, searching for a secret passage. Exhausted to the bone. Sadly, there was none. 3 days later, the door opened. A servant tossed in a wedding gown. The auspicious hour has arrived. Heaven gave me no chance to regret. An 8-man palanquin. Drums and gongs blaring. I entered Xia Weichen's residence. Carved balustrades and crimson windows filtered through hazy moonlight. I sat on the bed's edge, clutching the brocade box tightly. This was my mother's dowry. Shin Nan had tried to seize it. I had snatched it back. The door creaked open. A faint pear blossom fragrance mingled with the scent of wine. wafted in. I sat up straight. My heart pounded violently. The red veil was lifted. Candlelight flickered, illuminating Xia Weichen's profile. His thin lips pressed together slightly as he stared at me for a long moment. You. My cheeks flushed hot as I spoke first. I'm sorry. I didn't have time to call off the engagement. Xia Weichen's eyes darkened slightly as he gestured. You aren't happy. He pointed at my embroidered box. Asked me. Is it heavy? The air felt inexplicably stifling. I smiled. Not heavy. Xia Weichen sat down. His gaze fixed on me without blinking. I could only complain. The phoenix crown is so heavy. Xia Weichen nodded. The palanquin was so bumpy. Xia Weichen nodded. The shoes don't fit. They're rubbing and hurting. The candle flame flickered, illuminating Xia Weichen's gentle face. He nodded. Raindrops pounded on the roof. Clatter. Clatter. My Adam's apple bobbed. How dare that rotten chancellor slap my face? It hurt. I cried all night on my wedding night. Slept until noon. My eyes were swollen. A bit embarrassing. Chui Lu combed my hair, beaming with excitement. Shen Nanxing's cousin was caught seizing farmland. Your father. The chancellor was fined half a year's salary. The crown prince got a severe scolding too. I perked up. Tonight I'll eat 3 bowls of rice. I made an extra portion for Xia Weichen. I sent it to his study. Xia Weichen was painting. Spotting me, he hastily put it away. He still didn't speak much. His gaze evasive. I set down the porridge and dishes. Speaking sincerely. Thank you. Xia Weichen froze. He shook his head gently. I smiled and turned to leave. But my wrist was caught. Through the sleeve. Xia Weichen slipped an ointment into my hand. Then he touched his own face. Simple and clear. Warmth flared in my chest. I had to repay him somehow. So I went to the clinic for hidden ailments. I deliberately chose nighttime. I didn't even bring Chui Lu. Fewer people. The doctor casually prescribed epimedium. Cistanche. Eat more liver regularly. Bring your husband back for a follow-up in a month. Holding the medicine packet. I thanked him warmly. As I turned, I collided with a human wall. Xia Yun's expression was displeased. Xia Weichen can't do it. I frowned and tried to slip past him. Xia Yun wouldn't let it go. Stubbornly following. Jin Huan, do you admit your mistake? A surge of inexplicable anger flared in my chest. I stopped. What did I do wrong? Xia Yun softened his tone. I don't despise you. Divorce Xia Weichen. Test me. Rain had been falling steadily for days. Occasional flashes of lightning pierced the sky. I spoke seriously. Did lightning strike your brain? You needn't concern yourself with Weichen's health. But you. Coming here. I glanced at him. Asking coolly. Couldn't find a place to stroll? Xia Yun's face was taut with anger. Jin Huan. It's definitely not that. If you insist on following Xia Weichen, then follow him. Let's see how long you can keep up the tough act. He gritted his teeth and swept away. I stared at his retreating figure. In my past life, Xia Yun also frequented the shop. Buying beauties. Buying drugs. To gift to his henchmen. He claimed the effects were excellent. I hope so. Carrying the medicine, I stepped outside. Chui Lu held an umbrella. Her smile strained. Miss. Guess who I came with? A vague unease settled over me. Chui Lu spoke softly. It's raining. The third prince was worried about you. I climbed into the carriage. Where is he? Chui Lu's smile was uglier than tears. I ran into the crown prince. The crown prince asked his highness. She continued. Why haven't you sought the imperial physician for your ailment? I brewed the medicine. Delivered it to the study. The candlelight was bright, illuminating Xia Weichen's tense face. I hesitated for a moment, then placed the sugar cube down. It will help. The evening breeze blew through the window, rustling the pages, smoothing out a sheet of paper. The ink was half dry. The pressure penetrated the paper. Xia Weichen wrote, "Knowing your heart is divided. I implore you to follow your true feelings. Fear not the consequences, I shall bear them." Beside it lay the divorce papers. My gaze dimmed. It was all in vain. Xia Weichen had never loved me. I set down the bamboo slips and spoke softly. "This is Xia Yun's list of private contacts among the court officials. An evidence of his private army and trading of official positions. You might need this. In my past life, Xia Yun never hid his actions from me. Relying on my memories, I wrote down part of it. As I turned to leave, my wrist was suddenly seized. Xia Weichen's earlobes flushed crimson as he stammered. You don't like Xia Yun?" I shook my head, speaking earnestly. "I don't like him." He looked startled, then asked uncertainly, "Did you think I did? So you want a divorce?" The candle flame flickered. Xia Weichen's eyes brightened. He rose abruptly, protesting. "No, I don't want a divorce." Xia Weichen paused, then lifted the medicine bowl and drank it in one gulp. The bitterness made him frown. I slipped him a sugar cube. Xia Weichen flushed, his voice low. I'm useful. Don't despise me." The heat grew scorching, like that rainy night by the pond. Floating, sinking, searching, seeking, until the moon rose above the willow tips. The swaying stopped. I knew for certain. Xia Weichen wasn't broken. His eyes brimmed with mist. Like a clear, sparkling stream, he bowed his head, kissing my fingertips one by one. I remembered that rainy night by the pond. I asked doubtfully, "So, why did you use your hands back then? Even on our wedding night, we slept in separate beds." I thought. Xia Weichen paused, sounding a bit muffled. "I thought you wouldn't want to." I found it somewhat amusing. I cupped his face. "Why didn't you ask me?" A flush crept into Xia Weichen's eyes. His Adam's apple bobbed. His voice was hoarse, afraid of the answer. This time, my chest tightened in turn. I lowered my head, sealing his lips with mine. Xia Weichen had evidence delivered. The emperor was enraged. Xia Yun was confined to his quarters. The court was thrown into turmoil. Consort Rose summoned me again. She took my hand, her voice solemn as she urged, "Enjoy yourselves. I see Weichen's condition improving. You must try harder." I agreed. As I departed, a rosy-cheeked eunuch escorted me. He chuckled, praising me as willows of Zhangtai, lotuses of distant mountains. At the palace gates, he sighed, "One mountain cannot hold two tigers. How can another snore beside one's bed?" I understood. In a past life, Xia Yun understood this even more deeply. That's why, after ascending the throne, he slaughtered all his brothers. Only Xia Weichen, who had autism, was spared. He was exiled to the southern frontier. My thoughts drifted far away. I've never been to the southern frontier. I've only heard Xia Yun speak of it. The southern frontier is distant, bitterly cold, and barren. Hardly any horses remain. No trouble could arise there. Yet it was Xia Weichen, disguised beyond recognition, who single-handedly threw the realm into chaos, then ended his own life. But in this lifetime, Xia Weichen's condition improved, and he began to make his mark in court. How could he stay far from the court, content with a life of quiet complacency? Thunder rumbled outside the window. I shivered. His arm slipped around my shoulders. Xia Weichen's eyes held worry. He took my hand, tracing each finger. What's wrong? I slid effortlessly onto his lap. Xia Weichen, could you make some noise? It's too quiet. I'm scared. Xia Weichen's back stiffened. His cheeks burned crimson. He trembled as he undid my inner robe. I slapped his hand away. Not that. Never mind. This will do. I've consulted many physicians. Bought countless medicines. Xia Weichen was obedient, drinking them all. But seasons passed. His symptoms showed no improvement. If anything, his words in bed grew more frequent. Still not enough. I sat in the courtyard, waiting for Xia Weichen to return from court as usual. Peach blossoms drifted down in a shower. There must be a way to cure Xia Weichen. Cui Lu hurried over, her voice urgent. Madam, the third prince has been imprisoned. Fate loves to play cruel jokes. I went to the imperial prison. Xia Weichen sat upon straw. His lips were pale, his back stained with blood. Leaning against the bars, I asked, Xia Weichen, will you return home tonight? Xia Weichen gave a low chuckle. He opened his eyes, gesturing again, closing my eyes. I blurted out, yes, yes, yes. Rest assured, I won't remarry. I'll wait for you to come home. A long silence followed. Then came a sigh. Xia Weichen's voice was faint. Enjoy your time. I turned and hurried away. Xia Weichen was always threatening divorce. I must go to the palace to lodge a complaint. The carriage raced along. It stopped on the palace road. I dismounted and sought out Consort Row. Her palace doors were tightly shut, but voices argued from within. Consort Row choked out, Your Majesty, do you intend to drive Weichen to death? A sharp crack echoed, loud and clear. The emperor's face darkened with fury. Don't mention that wretch to me. I merely wish to move Chinger to the imperial mausoleum. He dares defy me, calling me unworthy. That tongue of his should be silenced forever. I vaguely recall. Xia Weichen's birth mother was named Gu Nianqing. Rumor had it she and the emperor shared a deep bond. The pink-faced eunuch sighed, urging me, Your Majesty is furious. Wait a few days. I whispered, Wait a few days. And he'll be released? The pink-faced eunuch nodded hesitantly. But I waited 3 months. Until Consort Row was demoted to a mere attendant. Until the servants of the Wang mansion dispersed. Until Xia Yin came to show his defiance. His eyes held a smile. Enjoy yourself. Come with me. Snowflakes as large as goose feathers drifted down. I rubbed my hands together, puzzled. Cui Lu, where's that dog barking? Xia Yin clenched my shoulder, gritting his teeth. Do you think Xia Weichen will survive this winter? A chill swept over me. Unflinching, I replied. As long as I survive you. It's enough. Xia Yin flung my hand away. Xin Jin Huan. Even capriciousness has its limits. I won't wait long. The imperial prison was bitterly cold. I fetched bedding. Xia Weichen took it silently. I made the bed and sat down. He tried to grab my hand to write again. I knew it would be something I didn't want to hear. I spoke first. I'm pregnant. 3 months along. The prison candles burned dimly. I couldn't make out Xia Weichen's expression. I spoke steadily. You decide. I didn't wait for an answer. I had to go home first. 3 days later. Xia Weichen wrote a letter to the emperor. Another 3 days. Gu Nianqing moved the tomb. 3 more days. Consort Row was reinstated. I waited at the prison gate. My palms were damp with sweat. Cui Lu comforted me. Madam, His Majesty has granted a pardon. Nothing will happen. The early winter sky held a chill. Snow fell slowly. Chui Lu gasped. "Madam, I'll go buy an umbrella." I nodded, still staring at the gate. A cold wind blew past. I pulled my cloak tighter. An umbrella opened overhead. I thought Chui Lu had returned. I looked up, only to meet a pair of dull, gray eyes. Xiaoyan shifted his gaze, his thin lips parting slightly. "He's truly fortunate. Such a grave crime. Father confined me for half a year. He endured only 3 months. And then, with such ease, he snatched you away from me." The sun dipped toward dusk. I couldn't understand. He already possessed Shinnanshin. His wish fulfilled. Yet greed still grew. I spoke softly. "He's innocent." Xiaoyan thrust the umbrella into my hands. His eyes held a block of ice. "Frozen for years. I have it. And it will only grow heavier." Amidst the swirling blizzard, Xiaoyan turned and walked away. The gates of the imperial prison opened. I rushed forward. Xia Weichen gently wrapped his arms around me. His voice muffled. "Be careful." His hair was slightly disheveled. His eyes were a little red. I took his hand. Okay. Let's go home." Snow blanketed the ground, sparkling and bright. Xia Weichen scooped me up horizontally. "Your shoes and socks will get wet." I waved it off carelessly. "It's fine." Xia Weichen shook his head. "I remember. You don't like that." I froze. It felt like we were back on our wedding night. That clumsy lie I'd spun. And someone actually believed it. The snowstorm raged fiercely. But Xia Weichen's steps were steady. He carried me, moving forward step by step. Xia Weichen was enfeoffed as Prince of Huai. The mansion grew bustling once more. Guests came and went. Gifts piled high. Chui Lu praised Xia Weichen for turning misfortune into blessing. No more stuttering. No more fear of people. He dared to speak. All his afflictions were cured. I sipped the nourishing herbal medicine. Yet my heart felt bitter. This year brings heavy rains. Sleep eludes me. Xia Weichen watches over me, patting my back to soothe. I turn, lifting my gaze to meet his. Xia Weichen. He hums in acknowledgement, tucks the quilt around me once more. I draw several deep breaths. I'm not pregnant. The air is damp. Xia Weichen didn't pause. MHM. I know. Raindrops fell from the eaves. Like a gentle melody. Xia Weichen held me tight. His breath faint. So faint. I couldn't help asking. How did you know? Why? 2 questions. Xia Weichen answered the second first. He rubbed the top of my head. That day, you didn't sleep well. Your complexion was terrible. I wanted to take care of you. To live and care for you. Tears spilled uncontrollably from the corners of my eyes. I hugged him back. But I waited a long time. Until sleepiness washed over me. Xia Weichen spoke softly, answering the first question. My mother didn't love him. She always tried to kill herself. Hurting herself. Gradually, I learned some medical skills to care for her. The warmth faded. His palms grew icy cold. Xia Weichen suddenly smiled. Does my voice sound awful? I shook my head, nibbling his lips. No. I love hearing it. Silence stretched on. So long I thought he'd fallen asleep. Yet a chill suddenly crept up my neck. Xia Weichen trembled, burrowing deeper into my embrace. But I never imagined. Mother hated me too. When I was 7, she forced me to swallow charcoal. Red-hot charcoal. The rain stopped. Yet I felt frozen to the bone. Cold seeped from my very marrow. Xia Weichen lay in my arms, looking puzzled. I should hate Mother. But then I thought, She only wanted a little freedom. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. I didn't know how to comfort him. So I kissed away Xiaoweichun's tears. Bitter. Sour. Before the Lantern Festival, Shen Nanqin was pregnant. Xiaoyun requested the emperor host a palace banquet to celebrate the blessing. Xiaoweichun dressed me in fine robes, her gentle voice urging caution tonight. I nodded. After recovering from illness, Xiaoweichun took on many state affairs. The emperor praised her endlessly. Xiaoyun, however, faced repeated rebukes. Whispers of a palace coup filled the court. Suddenly, everyone felt uneasy. Shen Nanqin's pregnancy at this moment. It was likely Xiaoyun's attempt to win the emperor's favor once more, to solidify his own position. Of course, there was love too. Shen Nanqin's complexion was rosy, her laughter bright and cheerful. She must be doing very well. Silk and bamboo instruments played melodiously as the Hu dancer entered. Xiaoweichun peeled shrimp for me. His eyes crinkled with laughter. Xiaoyun suddenly interjected, "My sister-in-law is very happy now." I ignored him. Xiaoyun sneered, lifting his wine cup. Third brother has recovered. The emperor spoke first. Displeased. What? Are you dissatisfied? The Hu dance halted. Shen Nanqin tugged at Xiaoyun, urgently defending. Father, Yun didn't mean it that way. He was just concerned. Xiaoyun shook off her hand, rising abruptly. Yes. I am dissatisfied. How could he be well? What right does he have to be well? Crash. The emperor hurled his wine cup. Get out! Xiaoyun didn't dodge. Blood trickled from his temple. It clattered to the floor. Xiaoyun stepped forward, demanding, Father, Xiaoweichun is cured. Does that mean you no longer want your son? The emperor's chest heaved violently. You fool! Who do you think you're talking to? Tension hung thick in the air. I clasped Xiaoweichun's hand tightly, whispering, Have they all been arrested? Xiaoweichun nodded, squeezing back. The charcoal fire blazed fiercely in the hall of prayer for good harvests. Yet its warmth failed to reach Xiaoyun. He turned his head, gazing at me from afar. Jin Huan, I'm starting to regret this. Once Xiaoweichun is dead, marry me and become empress. The turning point came in an instant. Xiaoyun smashed his wine cup, shards of glass scattering across the floor. Attendants tore open his robes. He drew the soft sword hidden beneath the desk. The clamor of battle reached the doorway. Close at hand, Shen Nanqin shrank back, sobbing until her face was streaked with tears. The emperor clutched his chest. Rebellious son, do you dare plot treason? You are already crown prince. Xiaoyun touched his jade ring, holding his breath. He focused his mind, until the main door was kicked open. Border Deputy General Lin Pingnan shouted loudly, Your Highness the Crown Prince. The great matter is accomplished. In his previous life, Lin Pingnan had been Xiaoyun's most capable lieutenant. Fortunately, this life was no different. Behind Lin Pingnan followed many familiar faces. They knelt in orderly formation, their movements disciplined. Just as before. Only then did Xiaoyun turn his gaze to the emperor. His tone was casual, as if discussing everyday matters. Father, your son was so afraid. Afraid that one day, you might lock me away for another half-year. I fear the day you might replace me with Xiaoweichun. He lifted his robe, bowed low, and pleaded for the emperor to abdicate. A long silence followed. A weary sigh echoed through the vast palace halls. The aged emperor opened his cloudy eyes. Weichun, bring him in. Xiaoweichun nodded in compliance. Xiaoyun looked up in confusion. The side door of the hall of prayer for good harvests opened. A group of young women and children emerged. Exclamations of surprise echoed in succession. Mother? Daughter? Aunt? Wife? Lin Pingnan's eyes widened. Chuo? How are you here? Lin Chuo wiped away tears. Father. Barely 3 days after you left. I was captured. At the palace gates. The sounds of battle erupted once more. It was the Imperial Guards. Xia Weichen's expression turned solemn. Those who surrender without a fight shall not be killed. There was no fierce battle. Only Xia Yan fought desperately to the end. Shen Nanxin took a sword strike meant for him. Blood splattered everywhere, life faded from his body. Xia Yan braced himself on his sword. Kneeling on the ground. Why? When did you discover it? His hair was disheveled. His clothes torn. Only his tone remained calm and restrained. The emperor showed no relief at surviving the ordeal. For the first time, I saw him bow his head. Jade beads on his crown clinked softly. They also obscured his vision. His voice was slow and deep. You've harbored resentment all this time. I sentence you to 6 months of confinement. Xia Yan sneered, licking the blood from his lips. Merely embezzlement and granting offices? So what? You imprisoned me for half a year and constantly berated me. Is that the extent of my crimes? Consort Ro helped the emperor to his feet. His steps were unsteady. His back slightly bent. A bitter smile. Among the evidence. Your intelligence network. Xia Yan's face paled. The sword slipped from his grasp. Each time I reprimanded you, I hoped you would see the error of your ways. Alas. The trailing words drowned in receding footsteps. Xia Yan's eyes blazed crimson as he screamed stubbornly, You knew all along. Why didn't you tell me sooner? You knew every move I made? You watched me waste my efforts? Why? Why? The figure in imperial yellow paused briefly before vanishing behind the beaded curtain. Xia Yan was just like me. He never got an answer. The second year of Jingbing. I finally arrived in the southern frontier. It wasn't as desolate as I'd imagined. There were grasslands and soaring eagles. The 7th prince, Xia Sheng, ascended the throne. He was refined and humble, governing diligently and wisely. A competent emperor. Xia Weichen became a provincial governor's attendant. Idle. Powerless. The scorching sun hung high. Xia Weichen handed me water. His voice solemn as he cautioned. You must be careful now that you're pregnant. Next time we ride, remember to come with me. I wanted to cover my ears. Lately, Xia Weichen had been talking a lot. A lot. But I couldn't. I could only agree. Yes. 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 Xia Weichen spoke softly. Xia Yun is dead. I took a bite of a wild fruit. Oh. Clouds drifted across the sky, gathering and dispersing. Xia Weichen paused. He wrote you a letter. Want to see it? I tentatively asked. Shall I read it to you? The grass felt warm beneath us. Drowsiness washed over me. Closing my eyes, I murmured lazily. Sure. A smile flickered in Xia Weichen's eyes. He unfolded the paper, reading line by line. But I waited for so long. Until the cows had eaten their fill of grass. Until the sheep returned to their pens. Xia Weichen still didn't speak. A breeze brushed my cheek. Ticklish. I couldn't help asking. What did he write? Xia Weichen's eyes flickered slightly. He tucked the letter away. His voice flat. Xia Yun said. I'm sorry. I murmured. Oh. My mouth was watering. Pointing at the plump lamb, I asked. Xia Weichen. Shall we have roast lamb tonight? He nodded. His hand trembling slightly. All right. Xia Weichen, the side story. Jean Huan ate a lot. Her belly was round and full. I reached out to touch it. But she swatted my hand away. She rolled over, muttering grumpily. Don't laugh. I wrapped my arms around her. My voice hoarse as I promised. All right. Truthfully, I felt like crying. That stupid pig Xiaoyun. What kind of crappy letter did he write? He said he was sorry for breaking Jinhuan's leg in the last life. He said he never truly meant to lock her away in the cold palace. He even said he punished Shen Nanxin in the end. He begged Jinhuan for forgiveness. Promised they'd be together again in the next life. He was dreaming. But I was still terrified. That very night, I wrote a letter to the new emperor. Burn Xiaoyun. Grind his bones to dust. Best to have a Taoist priest seal his spirit too. But in the night, I still woke with a start. Drenched in sweat. I had a dream. In the Golden Hall, Jinhuan didn't choose me. She happily married Xiaoyun. Then, as Xiaoyun had foretold, she withered away in the palace. Jinhuan drifted into my embrace. Dazed. What's wrong? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Her hand was soft and warm, resting on the back of my hand. I clasped it tightly. Jinhuan, stay with me forever. Don't leave me. Okay? She blinked, then sat up straight. Xia Weichen, did you eat my ice cream? Jinhuan craved the cold. Ice came from the southern frontier, and she always snuck it behind my back. I frowned. You bought ice cream again? Jinhuan fell silent. Then timidly asked, did you eat any? I sighed, leaning closer. No. Stop sneaking it. I'll ask the physician if there's a remedy. Jinhuan's eyes lit up, her face brimming with hope. What kind of remedy? I sighed helplessly. A remedy that lets pregnant women eat ice. Smack. Jinhuan planted a kiss on my cheek. She climbed into my lap, nuzzling me affectionately. Xia Weichen, how can you be so wonderful? I held her close, confirming this moment was real. She poked my cheek, her voice filled with wonder. Why do you like me? When I was 7. My voice had just gone. The imperial physician said I'd never get it back. I refused to believe it. Hiding by the imperial lake, I tried to speak, but only broken syllables came out. Xiaoyun led the mocking. Utterly hideous. Disgusting. I lowered my head, clamping my mouth shut. Then, Xiaoyun got hit. He clutched his head. Shin Jinhuan, what are you doing? Jinhuan stood with hands on hips. Where'd that dog bark come from? Xiaoyun's face flushed crimson. Snarling. I bet no one will ever marry you. Silence fell over the imperial lake. Jinhuan pressed a raven into my hands. Her face twisted with anguish. It's named Gigi. It'll listen to you obediently. A figure of regal elegance called softly. Jinhuan. Time to leave the palace. Jinhuan scampered off. Coming. Mother. Halfway there, she halted, hesitating before speaking. Take good care of Gigi. I'll come visit it. I nodded instinctively. So, every day, I only chirped with Gigi, because I couldn't speak. Then I stared at the heavy redwood door, hoping it would open again. But 3 years passed. Then another 3. Nothing. Later, Gigi grew old and died too. Only I remained. I just kept living, waiting for Jinhuan to hold me accountable. The memory was too distant. I thought for a long time, but didn't answer. Jinhuan nudged me again. HM? Xia Weichen. Why aren't you answering me? My Jinhuan doesn't remember. It's okay. I pressed myself closer, whispering softly, Jinhuan, would you like to keep a crow? The end.